Right then, let's get real, yeah? This is what all you Christians are going to see every time you bang on about you being Christians. Because let me tell you, I'm not partial to Christians. I really have quite an issue with them for many, many deep and profound reasons. So if you don't want to see this, then don't get talking about that rubbish. Look, people. That's Supercilious, by the way. Come on, Supercilious. You don't want to go back in, you see. Get back in there. Go on, get back in there where you belong. No, I won't. I want to tell those Christians what it's all about, those fools. Get in there. You can't come out. You've already had your say, Supercilious. Get in. Finally got rid of him for a few minutes so I can make this video. Look, guys, I've met a lot of Christians and I've never liked any of them. I don't get on with them at all because their whole thing is faith and belief premised. And faith and belief are illusory. And not only that, I point you in the direction of my book because I've got a whole chapter about faith and belief and what faith and belief is and how they manifest and what they really mean. I've been through all this, people. I've been through it very long and hard. And so I'll suggest that, you know, those of you that are thinking intelligent people, then, you know, you might find that interesting. But Christians, they're not going to find it interesting because Christians are so full of dogma that they don't comprehend. They have learnt a few passages in the Bible, and then you think you're Christians and you call yourself Christians. But look what's happened in the whole world in relation to Christians. They've murdered millions and millions of people in the name of Christ. Do you think that that's Christian-like? Do you think that that's what Jesus was advocating? Well, you're very misguided, aren't you? And so I have never seen any difference from the perspective of a so-called Christian. I've heard too many accounts of so-called Christians doing the most heinous of things that you could imagine. And so I got no time for Christians, and I would just, you know, politely advise you guys who, you know, proclaim to be Christian just to gently vacate this site because there's nothing here for you. I've made videos about God and Jesus and all this sort of thing. I am not a Christian, and I can't stand the sight of Christians. So please be gone. The reason why I can't stand the sight of Christians is because they're not thinking people. This channel is about psychoanalysis, it's about philosophy, it's about what it is to be ontology, it's about metaphysics and all different sorts of things. It's not about how to be a Christian. God, it just makes my face go like this. I'm a reasonable person, and I don't pull faces like that without very, very good reason. And every single Christian I've ever met, they've been so deluded, and they all act completely contrary to Christian values. And very quickly they become nasty and spiteful and judgmental. And out of all the people that I've ever had an issue with on my channels over this past 13 years, the vast majority have been so-called Christians with follow Jesus in the name or love Jesus or whatever. Look, what I say and what I absolutely know to be true, and I'm just waiting for you. Just come on show yourself, Satan, because where better to hide? Where would Satan want to hide? Where would he nestle in nice and cozily where he wouldn't be detected for what he is? under the guise of a so-called Christian, under the guise of a preacher, under the guise of a pope, under the guise of a chaplain, under the guise of any of these Catholic pedos and all the rest of the hypocrisy that they're involved in. That's where Satan hides. And so if you go into a house that has graven images hanging on any wall, like a crucifix, a most macabre representation of the most hideous death you could ever give to anybody, if they brandish that with glee, they're obviously Satan, aren't they? Come on, get your hands around it. Get your heads around it, people. Why would you have a representative of that death hanging around your chest and going, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian? You know, because you are absolutely ecstatic with what people did to Jesus and that pain, and you want to perpetuate it, you want to continue promulgating it, you want to live by it because that's what you are. God in heaven, God said, follow, bow down to, worship no graven images, and yet all you fools, you're doing exactly the opposite. And so therefore I can only conclude that lots of you aren't in actual fact fools, you are Satan, and you know exactly what you're doing, because what you're doing is, when you've got pictures of Jesus hanging on the wall and pictures of crosses and representations of that death and all that it stood for, the ignorance and the hypocrisy and the anger and the hate, that's what you've got hanging on your walls, representations and reminders of that. If you were Christian, then all you'd do, you'd just be living by Christian values. You'd be living by what Christ advised his apostles to do. And all the Christians that have come on my channel, well, they've never acted in good faith as far as Jesus is concerned. They are the first that get violently, verbally obnoxious, and they're hateful and spiteful and vindictive. They're the ones that are so filled with hate. Isn't it a joke, people? Isn't it a joke? And so look, in all of my life, with all of the countries I've travelled, for some of you that are new to the channel, I've travelled 45 countries around the world. I've lived and worked in many of them, and I've travelled to many of them multiple times. I've been around this world 50 times. I've seen and I've met a lot of people. And I've met a lot of so-called Christians, and every single one of them has turned my stomach, because I know what they are. I know they are Satan through and through. If you go into somebody's house and they have an inverted pentagram, at least you know who you're dealing with. And they can say, I'm a Satanist, or, you know, I worship the devil. And you go, well, okay, cool. At least you know who you're dealing with. With these fucking Christians, they are lying bunch of deceitful, heinous, evil motherfuckers. You don't never know what you're dealing with until you just give them the opportunity to reveal themselves. And they do it in an instant. All you got to do, you know, I met someone in recent times who was a Christian. He said he loved Jesus, and he was a big guy, bodybuilding guy, right? And he always used to tell me, I love you, man, I love you, man. And we used to have, you know, good conversations about, you know, philosophical topics. But one day I started talking to him about Jesus being a fiction, and all of a sudden I seen his face. It just turned into Satan himself. And I went, holy fuck, can you see what's happened to you? And he came up to me and he said, don't you get talking to my Jesus like that. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. Let me give you a representation of what he was. I love Jesus. Jesus, I love him. Don't say things about Jesus. That was him. Look, it's made my glasses steam up. I was like, fuck. Well, there's a thing. That's just another classic example of these fuckers that call themselves Christians and proclaim to overtly love Jesus, and yet at the drop of a hat, they've got no mercy, they've got no compassion, they've got no understanding, they've got nothing except hate through and through. How many of you have experienced this? There must be a whole myriad of you. And so all I'm saying to Christians, get the fuck off this site. Really, get the fuck off this channel. because I can't stand the air that you breathe, because I know you're false fucks and everything that you're doing is wrong. Read my book, and then if you've got something intelligent to say about my hypothesis, then, you know, you come back and say something. But you see, the whole thing about Christians, they're just like any other religious fundamentalist. You know how you guys would absolutely have the greatest issue with the opposite. You know, our swarthy fellows, you know, in the Middle East, you really hate them, wouldn't you? And you've been hating them for hundreds of years. And that's what the whole Crusades were about. Look at what was going on. In the name of God, in the name of Jesus, in the name of love, in the name of compassion. Satan was residing with every single one of them. Satan was having a fucking field day. Whilst the real Christians, the real God-fearing people, was ploughing the fields and nurturing their kids and their animals and doing the right things, doing what Jesus would have done had he been actually a real thing. Just makes me laugh, people. And so I'm expecting now to see probably at least a dozen unsubscribe. Tell me just before you go. Tell me. Come on, you can tell me. I know who you are. I know what you are. I've met you, motherfucker. I've met you plenty of times. I know exactly what you look like. I can even smell you. Get the fuck off this channel. This channel's for light bearers. This channel's for seekers of the light and the cosmic reality, whatever that may be. And for sure, on our path, on our travels, we're going to come up against you, oh evil one. But we know, via the light, we can expel you. So that's all I've got to say about Christians. What a joke. Goodbye.